Ranni the Witch is the most beloved character in Elden Ring. She's at the heart of the game's most celebrated questline, the architect of one of its true endings, and the figure players trust more than any other in the lands between. Yet, she's also one of FromSoft's most intricate creations, a demigod who took the Rune of Death, orchestrated the fall of another demigod, cast off her own body, and now guides her designs through the form of a porcelain doll. Her path is more than a questline. It's a rebellion. It's a vision from a different world. And if you follow her, it becomes a personal journey toward that future. Today, we're tracing her story from the moment of her birth, through the shadowed night that reshaped the Golden Order, to the choice she places before you. A choice that can alter the lands between for an age. But to understand why she stands apart from every other ruler in this world, you first have to understand the two great forces that shaped her life, and why she chose to belong to neither. Ranni was born in a house where two great lights pulled at her loyalty. Her mother, Rennala, Queen of the Full Moon, ruler of Liurnia of the Lakes, and carried the legacy of Caria royal family, a legacy tied to the stars, the moon, and a form of sorcery older than the Erd Tree itself. From her, Ranni inherited the belief that knowledge and celestial magic could guide the fate of nations. The Carian way was built on study, precision, and a trust in forces far older than the Golden Order. Her father, Radagon, was the second Elden Lord, champion of the Golden Order, and chosen of the Greater Will. Through him came her tie to the Erd Tree, the radiant symbol of divine law in the lands between. His world was one of hierarchy, structure, and the belief that the will of the gods was absolute. From her earliest days, Ranni lived in two worlds. The Carians looked upward to the cold beauty of the night sky, reading destiny in the movement of the stars. The Golden Order looked to the Erd Tree's glow, finding truth in its endless gold. These weren't paths that bent toward one another. They were parallel roads, each claiming to hold the only true order of the world. Her brothers embodied the spirit of forging one's own path. Radon, the Star Scourge, mastered gravity magic so completely, he froze the very stars in their courses. Rykard turned his back on the Erd Tree entirely, taking strength from the god-devouring serpent. In her family, power was never about obedience. It was about making choices and carrying it to the end. For Ranni, that choice came in a single night that would change the lands between forever. The Night of the Black Knives. It began in silence, with assassins moving like shadows under moonless skies. Their blades were unlike any other, forged from the Rune of Death, the very force that allows true death to exist. This power had been locked away for ages, guarded by Malakath the Black Blade, but Ranni found a way to take it. Whether through cunning, allies, or a plan long in the making, she stole the rune from Malakath's keeping. With it, the assassin struck Godwyn the Golden, beloved son of Marika. The blades didn't simply kill him. They split the concept of life itself in two. His soul perished, but his body lived on, cursed and unchanging. Godwyn became the first true corpse of a demigod, and the roots of the Erd Tree carried that corruption deep within. The night sent shockwaves through every seat of power. The greater wills chosen were no longer untouchable. The Erd Tree's order had been pierced. But Ranni's role in the night was deeper still. She hadn't just orchestrated Godwyn's death. She had turned one of those black knives upon herself. In doing so, she destroyed her mortal body, severing the last tether the greater will ever held over her. Her spirit remained free, but she could never again walk the world as she once had. This was done by design, not desperation. Ranni chose to live through a vessel, a doll that would carry her presence while she moved beyond the god's control. The Night of the Black Knives was more than an assassination. It was her declaration. The grip of the greater will could be broken. And before you know her name, before you truly understand her place in the world, she will step quietly into your life for the first time. You meet Ranni long before you understand who she is. Early in your journey, when the Erd Tree still feels impossibly far away, and every step is a lesson in survival, you rest at a site of grace. The quiet settles over you, and then she is there. The silver-haired witch in the wide-brimmed hat, calm and deliberate in her movements. Her words weighed before they're spoken. She places something in your hand, the Spirit Calling Bell. It's a small object, unassuming at the first glance, but it changes the way you fight. With it, you can summon the spirit of those who have passed to fight by your side. She doesn't linger. She doesn't explain the greater meaning of the gift. She offers it, speaks briefly, and fades away into the night. For most Tarnished, it's a fleeting encounter. For you, it's the first quiet thread tying your journey to hers. That thread pulls you towards Liurnia of the Lakes, and into the shadow of Caria Manor. The manor stands like a sentinel over the land. Its walls not just stone, but history. The last bastion of the Carian royal line. The air around it is charged, alert. This is not a place for the uninvited. To pass through its gates is to accept the trial it presents. Inside, the halls are hushed but heavy with presence. Spectral knights patrol corridors infused with glintstone magic. Outside, in the gardens and courtyards, enormous ghostly hands rise from the earth, their long fingers curling towards intruders. The deeper you move, the more the manor feels alive in its defense, testing you with every step. At the heart of these defenses stands Royal Knight Loretta, sworn protector of the Carian line. She meets you in the open courtyard, her spear gleaming like a shard of starlight, her magic precise and unyielding. This isn't a duel for honor, it's a judgment. Only by proving yourself against her will you earn the right to walk further into the lands her queen once ruled. When she falls, the path forward opens, not just to another corner of Liurnia, but to the place Ranni truly waits. Beyond the manor's walls lies a plateau known as the Three Sisters. Here, three great towers rise against the sky, their stonework marked by age and wind. The air is different here, colder, sharper, and touched by the constant whisper of the highland breeze. In the center stands the tallest of the three, Ranni's Rise. It doesn't flaunt its power like gilded halls of the Erd Tree followers, but it has a presence all its own, as though it exists more in step with the moon above than with the world below. Inside, the tower spirals upward toward a chamber bathed in moonlight. At its center, she waits, the same witch you met in Limgrave, yet entirely different somehow. She sits in the form of a porcelain doll, still yet somehow aware, her robe pooling in gentle folds, her hat casting her gaze into the shadow. Ranni speaks, her voice the same steady current you heard in Limgrave, but now carrying the weight of command. She makes her offer plainly. You may serve her if you wish. There is no pleading, no dressing it in grandeur. It's simply the path she lays before you. To take it is to join her rebellion without ever speaking the word. To turn away is to remain outside her circle forever. When you accept, the air in the room shifts almost imperceivably. You're no longer just a Tarnished wandering the lands between. You are a part of her inner circle, tied to the same fate as those who already serve. And your first task, it comes quickly. Work alongside Blaidd to investigate a disturbance tied to the ancient cities beneath the earth. From here, her plans begin to draw you deeper, past the surface of the world, into the quiet ruins and buried histories where the stars themselves have held still for centuries. Your service to Ranni begins without flourish. There's no ceremony, no parade of titles. She simply moves the first piece on the board. Blaidd will work with you directly, she says, and that alone is telling. Blaidd isn't just her most trusted knight. He is her shadow, bound to her by creation itself. If she pairs him with you, it's because she expects you to matter. Blaidd greets you as though the decision has already been made. You're in this together now. His voice carries the steady assurance of someone who has seen many battles and expects to see many more. He tells you of a disturbance deep below the lands between, something stirring in the ancient realm of the eternal cities. His tone makes it clear. This isn't a minor errand. This is a step towards something far larger, something that matters deeply in Ranni's plans. You follow him into Sofara River, descending into a world that feels as old as the stars themselves. It's a place that defies what you expect from the lands between. Not a cavern, but a vast hollow sky lit by drifting constellations and the quiet shimmer of blue light across ancient stone. Rivers wind between pillars carved in ages past, and ruined structures cling to the edge of cliffs like ghosts of a city that once stood proud. The eternal cities were once powerful beyond measure. They lived without the Erd Tree's blessing, drawing their strength from the stars and the cosmic forces above. But long ago, they defied the greater will, and their punishment was severe. Cast down beneath the surface, their skies stolen, their futures bound. For Ranni, these cities are more than ruins. They are a reminder of what it means to reject the gods, and of the price that comes with it. She knows the Eternal Cities failed in their rebellion, but their history proves that the will of the greater power is not absolute. Blaidd's investigation into Siofra leads to a revelation. The path forward is blocked by one man, General Radahn. His mastery of gravity magic is so complete that he has frozen the very stars in their courses. The Eternal Cities remain locked in their fate because of him. The sky itself will not move until he is defeated. For Ranni, this is not just a battle to remove an obstacle. It's the key to freeing the heavens. And so, the course is set for Caelid and a Redmane Castle, where warriors from across the lands between gather for one reason: the Festival of Combat. When you arrive, you find Blaidd already there. The air in the castle is thick with anticipation. Warriors stand in small clusters, checking their weapons, murmuring to one another about the battle to come. For them, the fight is a chance at glory. For you and Blaidd, it is the hinge upon Ranni's plan. Radahn is not merely a rival. He is Ranni's half-brother, the son of Radagon and Rennala. Killing him will be both a strategic blow and a deeply personal act. But there's no way forward without it. Until he falls, the stars cannot move. Until the stars move, Ranni's path remains locked. The horns sound, the gates open, and the festival begins. The Festival of Combat is unlike anything else in the lands between. It's not a siege, not a clandestine strike in the dead of night. It's a declaration. The gates of Redmane Castle swing open, and beyond them lies the wide, broken plain where General Radahn waits. Caelid's sky burns red above you, and the air is heavy with the scent of dust and rot. The other warriors gather around you, fighters from every corner of the lands between, each drawn by the challenge of facing one of the most feared demigods alive. Radahn rides into view, a giant astride a warhorse that should be far too small for him. He looses arrows the size of ballista bolts, each one slamming into the earth with a force that sends shudders through the battlefield. His strikes land like falling stars, his blade sweeping arcs of death through the chaos. You fight alongside the other champions. The battle surges forward in waves. Sometimes you strike from a distance, looking for any opening in his relentless defense. Sometimes you're forced into the press of melee, your weapon ringing against his in the madness of close combat. Every blow feels like it should be the one to bring him down, yet he fights on, a force of nature refusing to yield. And then, finally the moment comes. Radahn falters. His body, colossal even in defeat, sinks into the ground. The battlefield falls into an eerie stillness. The dust hangs in the air, and far above, the stars begin to move. It happens slowly at first, a subtle shift, like the sky waking from a long sleep. Then they drift freely, their course no longer held in place by Radahn's will. The Eternal Cities, trapped beneath the surface for an age, have their fate stirred again, and for Ranni, the next stage of her design is possible. For most, the festival ends here. The warriors cheer, their victory secured. But for you and Blaidd, the battle was never just about Radahn. It's about what comes next. His fall unsealed the heavens, and that act will ripple through the lands between. Yet even in the quiet after the fight, there's a shadow over the victory. Blaidd's relief feels muted. His loyalty to Ranni hasn't dimmed, but you can sense a tension in him. Something deep, subtle, and dangerous. War Counselor Iji will later speak of it in hushed, careful tones. Blaidd was created to serve as Ranni's shadow by the will of the Two Fingers. Now that Ranni has turned her back on that will, something inside Blaidd is beginning to fray. Seluvis watches these developments with the eyes of a man who measures opportunity in every shift of power. He says nothing openly, but you can feel his mind working behind that calm exterior. Iji, for his part, grows more vigilant. He knows the kind of fractures that can destroy even the closest bonds, and he will do what he must to protect Ranni, even if it means protecting her from Blaidd himself. The stars are free, and the way to Nokron will be soon revealed. But victory often comes with its own shadows, and in Ranni's circle, those shadows are beginning to lengthen. The fall of Radon changes the sky, the constellations drift again, and from that movement comes a sign. A single star breaks free from its course and falls to the lands between, streaking across the night in a silver arc before crashing into the earth with a force that shakes the ground. Its impact tears open the way to Nokron, the eternal city long lost to time. You descend into a world unlike any other in the lands between. Nokron's streets are empty, its silence unbroken except for the echo of your own footsteps. Above you stretches a sky locked in perpetual night, shimmering with countless points of light. It feels as though the city still remembers the freedom it once had, when those stars were its guide. Now it lies still, a remnant of defiance buried in the earth. The eternal cities were built by the Nox, a people who turned from the Erdtree's light and placed their trust in the guidance of the stars. For this, the Greater Will cast them down, stealing their skies and sealing their fate beneath the surface. Their punishment was meant to be final, yet here you walk, moving through their runes towards something Ranni needs, something that might finish what they began. At the heart of Nokron lies the Fingerslayer Blaidd, a weapon unlike any other. It is not forged for war against men, but for a single, terrible purpose: to kill the Two Fingers, the direct voice of the Greater Will. Ranni's path has always been one of defiance, but this blade is the tool that makes that defiance permanent. Without it, the Greater Will always have a hold over the lands between. With it, she can sever that hold forever. Recovering the blade feels like pulling a relic from the roots of history itself. It's a weapon of finality, and in Ranni's hands, it will be more than just a safeguard. It will be her guarantee that her fate will never again be bound by divine law. But even with the blade in your possession, the journey is far from over. Beneath Nokron lies a path that leads deeper still, into the oldest layers of the world, a place where something waits that once brought Rune to the Eternal Cities. The descent takes you through narrow stone tunnels that open into vast caverns, lit by drifting motes of blue light. The air grows colder, the sense of weight above pressing down on you. Here in the depths, you meet Estelle, a creature not of the Erdtree's making, but of the cold, distant places between the stars. Estelle's very presence is alien. It doesn't hate, it doesn't rage, it simply is. A force that moves with the inevitability of a collapsing star. Long ago it erased the Eternal Cities, reducing them to the silence you've just walked through. And now it stands in your way, the final guardian between you and the end of Ranni's long design. The battle against Estelle feels like striking at the void itself. Its power bends the air, tears the ground, and pulls light into patterns that don't belong in this world. Yet, when it falls, the way forward opens again. What lies ahead is no longer a hidden road or a buried rune. It is the final approach to Ranni's last act. The moment when she will no longer walk in quiet rebellion, but in open separation from the gods. With Estelle defeated and the path cleared, it feels as though the end of Ranni's plan is close at hand. But just when you expect to stand with her again, she's gone. Ranni's rise sits quiet. The chamber which she once waited is empty, the air holding only a faint trace of her presence. The doll is absent, the circle of her trusted retainers left without her direct command. Her disappearance isn't the act of someone who has lost control. It's a deliberate move. She is withdrawn from the board entirely, stepping into a place where neither allies nor enemies can reach her. Ranni has always valued her independence, and at this stage, she needs it more than ever. Every step forward from here must be hers alone until the moment she is ready to act. Iji says little, though his watchful demeanor grows heavier. Seluvis continues his quiet schemes, his ambition barely concealed now that Ranni isn't here to watch him. And Blaidd is unraveling. The strain of his creation, bound to her by the will of the Two Fingers, yet unable to reconcile that bond with her defiance, is tearing at him. The cracks in Ranni's circle have been there for a while, but now they spread, wide and dangerous. Your path forward isn't marked by the clarity of her earlier commands. Instead, you follow the threads she's left behind. They lead you deeper into places touched by her influence, ancient chambers steeped in moonlight, passages carved in stone that seem to hum with a familiar presence. It's not a desperate chase. You know Ranni better than that by now. If she is apart from you, it's because she has chosen to be, and she will reveal herself again when the time is right. When you finally find her, it is in a place removed from the politics and power struggles of the surface. Her presence there is steady, deliberate. She doesn't greet you as a subject returning to their liege, nor as a soldier reporting for duty. She speaks to you as an equal. Her vision has not changed. She will not kneel to the greater will. She will not live under the Erd Tree's light. Instead, she offers you the same freedom she has claimed for herself, to step away from the will of the gods entirely, and to sail into an age guided only by the cold, unbroken light of the stars. It is not a command or an order dressed in polite words. It's simply an invitation. You can refuse, and walk the golden road as so many before you have done. Or you may take her hand and walk with her into the night, away from the Erd Tree's shadow, towards something the lands between has never known, a 1,000-year age of quiet and distant freedom. If you accept, there's no turning back. This is the final step of your service, and the first step into something entirely new. If you take her hand, the two of you will step away from the Erd Tree's burning shadow and into a night unbroken by gold. The lands fade beneath you, the moon's silver light spilling across the world like a quiet tide. Ranni speaks, her voice calm and sure, as she declares the dawn of a new age. Not an age of thrones and crowns, but an age where no god claims dominion over mortal fate. For 1,000 years, she says, the age of stars will hold. The rule she offers is not the rule of kings. It is a long night of quiet sovereignty, where people may live without the touch of the greater will or the meddling of the outer gods. It is liberation, but also distance. The light of the moon is colder than the warmth of the Erd Tree, and in its glow there will be no divine guidance, no godly hand shaping the path ahead, only the freedom and the burden of choice. This is not a paradise. It is not a guarantee of peace or prosperity. It is an open horizon with no certain shore, a leap into the unknown because the known has always been in chains. It is exactly what Ranni wanted for herself, and exactly what she now offers you. When the two of you vanish into the endless night, the lands between changes in ways most will never understand. Some will call it abandonment, others will call it salvation. But those who truly see what happened will know that the gods no longer hold the final word over the world. Ranni's path has never been about conquest. It's been about removal, the careful unmaking of the chains that bound her, and her people to the will of the powers that saw themselves as absolute. She gave up her mortal body to be free. She risked her closest bonds, faced creatures older than empires, and cut away the last threads, tying her to a destiny she never asked for. In the end, she offers the same choice to you, to step into a world where the gods are silent, and the future belongs to those willing to claim it. The Age of Stars begins in quiet. There's no triumphant roar, no golden blaze, just a silver horizon stretching into forever, and the knowledge that you can choose it. And so her legacy is written. The witch who refused both the gold and the moon she was born beneath. The one who carried her own path and dared to ask you to walk it with her. For 1,000 years her night will reign, and in the quiet between the stars, her name will endure as the one who chose her own fate and gave you the chance to do the same. And that's Ranni's story, the path of a witch who defied gods, rewrote her fate, and left behind an age unlike anything the lands between had ever seen. But her ending, like all endings in Elden Ring, is really just a beginning. The Age of Stars may last 1,000 years, but what happens within it? That's a story we'll never see. And maybe that's the point. What do you think? Was Ranni's path the best possible future for the lands between? Or did she leave it in the hands of a world unprepared for freedom? Would you take her hand or walk another road entirely? I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into her story and want to see more Elden Ring lore breakdowns like this, let me know by hitting that like button and subscribing. It helps me know which characters you want to see next. And if you want to be here when the next episode drops, make sure to ring the bell so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and until next time, may your road through the lands between be Be your own.